You take a calcium supplement without thinking about it. Maybe an iron pill too, if a doctor ever told you your blood ran low. Your ancient counterpart never got that choice. Her body paid the difference somewhere you can still see today, 3,000 years later, if you know where to look, in her bones. Bioarchaeologists have a name for one of the clearest signs of that struggle: cribra orbitalia, small pits etched into the bone just above the eye sockets. Decoded plainly, it's a scar left by chronic anemia, the body so starved of iron that it remodels bone itself, trying to make more blood. It doesn't show up after one bad month. It takes years of sustained deficiency to leave a mark a researcher can still read on a skull found in the ground today. Dig through skeletal collections from almost any ancient farming population, and female skeletons show this marker far more often and far more severely than male ones from the exact same community, the exact same era, eating the exact same food. Why would that gap exist at all? Pregnancy and breastfeeding both drain a woman's iron and calcium reserves hard, repeatedly, for years at a stretch. While menstruation adds a second steady drain, men's bodies never have to budget for. Stack 4, 6, 8 pregnancies across one woman's reproductive life, with no supplement, no transfusion, no break long enough to fully recover between rounds, and her skeleton starts quietly rewriting itself to cope. Anthropologist Amanda Mummert and her colleagues tracked what happened when humans shifted from foraging to farming, and for women specifically, the timing makes the damage worse, not better. Farming let people settle down, and settling down shortened the gap between pregnancies, because nomadic foraging mothers, carrying one child for years on long seasonal treks, had unintentionally been spacing births further apart all along, settle in one place, and that natural spacing collapses. Add a diet that shifted toward iron-poor grain and away from the varied wild foods foragers used to eat, and agriculture didn't just feed more people. For women's bodies specifically, it loaded the same machine with more cycles and less fuel, more pregnancies stacked closer together, running on a thinner diet than the one their bodies evolved expecting. Picture the actual daily toll behind that number. Hours spent kneeling over a stone quern, grinding grain into flour, day after day, year after year. The same repetitive motion grooved so deep into her body that researchers can still identify it. And here's where the story stops being simple. In 2017, researchers at the University of Cambridge, led by Alison Macintosh, compared the arm bones of Neolithic women to those of modern athletes and found something that upends the fragile ancient woman image completely. Their upper arms were, on average, stronger than the arms of living female rowers training at a competitive university level. Years of grinding grain by hand had built bones tougher than elite modern athletes achieve through deliberate training. She was simultaneously breaking down from the inside and building a body stronger than almost anyone alive today. So which was she? Fragile or formidable? The honest answer is both. At the same time, in the same body. Strength and depletion were never opposites here. They were the same grinding labour, the same relentless reproductive cycle, viewed from two different bones. The arm that ground grain strong enough to rival an Olympic rower belonged to the exact same skeleton whose skull still carries the pitted scars of years spent quietly anemic. Nobody handed her one fate or the other. Her body absorbed both at once and kept working anyway. None of this stayed hidden from the people living through it, even without a word for anemia. Exhaustion that wouldn't lift no matter how much sleep she got. A body that ached in specific familiar ways every single pregnancy. Shins and hips and lower back, the same way, every single time. Older women in camp who had been through it themselves, who likely had their own remedies, their own foods pushed toward the women showing the signs, even without a microscope, to explain exactly why iron-rich liver or blood broth seemed to help. It would have looked to anyone watching like simply what a woman's body did. Nobody had the vocabulary to call it a treatable deficiency instead of just an inevitable cost of being female. You walk into a pharmacy today and solve in 5 minutes what once took a body years to silently negotiate on its own. A blood test catches anemia before you've consciously felt the exhaustion behind it. A supplement replaces what a pregnancy quietly subtracts. None of this fixes the underlying biological deal evolution struck millions of years ago. A deal that still taxes a woman's body every cycle, every pregnancy, every year of breastfeeding, exactly the way it taxed hers. The only real difference is that you get to outsource the fight, while she had to win it using nothing but whatever her own skeleton could spare. So the next time you swallow that pill without a second thought, remember the pits etched above a stranger's eye sockets, 3,000 years gone, and the arms strong enough to outwork a modern athlete sitting right next to them on the very same skeleton. She never got to choose easier. You do every single morning, and probably don't even notice you're choosing at all.